You have spent years building a life that looks exactly the way other people told you it should look. And somewhere in the middle of all that building, you forgot to ask yourself one question. Does any of this actually belong to me? That is not a small question. That is the most dangerous question you will ever ask yourself. Because the moment you ask it honestly, you will realize something terrifying, that most of what you believe about yourself was never yours to begin with. It was handed to you, packaged, installed quietly while you were too young and too afraid to resist. And you have been defending it ever since, as if it were your own soul. Friedrich Nietzsche saw this. He saw it clearly, long before the age of social media and constant validation and comment sections, and the slow psychological torture of watching strangers approve or disapprove of your existence in real time. He called it the herd, the mass of people who move together not because they share a destination, but because none of them have the courage to stop and stand still alone. Here is the brutal truth. Most people do not actually care about you. What they care about is whether you make them comfortable, whether your choices reflect well on their choices, whether your life is close enough to theirs that they can continue believing they made the right decisions. The moment you diverge, the moment you choose something unusual, something bold, something that doesn't fit neatly into what everyone expected, they will not cheer for you. They will question you. They will worry about you. They will call it concern. They will dress their jealousy in the language of love. And here is the part that will shake you if you let it. You already know this. You have always known this. But you kept performing anyway. You kept shrinking yourself to fit into rooms that were never built for the size of what you actually are. You kept apologizing for having opinions that deviated from the script. You kept editing yourself, erasing yourself, softening yourself, not because you believed it was right, but because the alternative was terrifying. The alternative was standing alone. Nietzsche called the highest human aspiration the Übermensch, not a superhero, not a monster, but a person who creates their own values. A person who looks at the inherited rules of their world and asks with full seriousness, why? Not rebelliously, not carelessly, but with the cold, honest intelligence of someone who refuses to live on borrowed meaning. Most people never get there. Most people spend their entire lives chasing a version of approval that keeps moving. You get the grades they wanted, then they want the career. You get the career, then they want the relationship. You get the relationship, then they want the house, the child, the title, the salary, the right kind of happiness worn in the right kind of way. The finish line never arrives, because the finish line was never the point. Control was the point, and you handed it over willingly because you mistook their expectations for love. Think about the last time you made a decision that was completely yours, not influenced by what your family would think, not shaped by what your circle would respect, not filtered through the fear of how it would look on the outside. When was the last time you chose something because it was true to you, even if it was inconvenient, even if it cost you something, even if no one else understood it? For most people, the honest answer to that question is devastating. Nietzsche wrote that the individual who has become what they truly are must be willing to become what they truly are, alone, if necessary. That sentence sounds simple until you live it, until you realize that becoming yourself is not a celebration, it is a separation. The people who benefited from your smallness will not applaud your growth. They will frame it as betrayal. They will call you changed, arrogant, difficult, lost. What they mean is that you have become harder to control. Here is the hidden truth that almost no one tells you. Other people's opinions of you are not about you. They are a mirror of them. The person who mocks your ambition is mourning their own abandoned dreams. The person who calls your boundaries selfish is terrified of their own dependency. The person who warns you about your choices is protecting themselves from having to examine their own. You are not the subject of their judgment. You are the surface on which they project everything they cannot face about themselves. And yet you gave these projections the power to define you. You handed them the pen and let them write your story. You mistook noise for truth. Nietzsche's warning was simple and merciless. The person who cannot be alone, the person who requires constant approval to feel real, that person is not free. They are a function of other people's needs. They do not live, they perform. And they perform until the day they die, never once asking whether the audience was even worth impressing. Freedom is not loud. It does not announce itself. It does not come with applause. It comes quietly. In the moment when you realize that the opinion of someone who does not know your hunger, your sacrifice, your private battles, and your deepest truth, that opinion means nothing. Not a little, nothing. And you stop waiting for it. You stop adjusting your life around it. You stop constructing yourself in the image of what they can understand. That moment is terrifying, and then it is the most alive you have ever felt. The heaviest chains are the ones you cannot see. The most dangerous prison is the one built from other people's voices living inside your head, telling you what is acceptable, what is possible, what someone like you deserves. Nietzsche wanted you to burn those voices down, not with rage, with clarity, with the sober, devastating recognition that you were born with one life, and you have been spending it proving yourself to people who are never qualified to judge you in the first place. Stop. Just stop. You do not need their permission to be who you are. You never did. The only opinion that should haunt you is the one you will carry on the last day of your life, when you look back at everything you chose and everything you abandoned, and you ask yourself whether you were actually there for any of it, or whether you let other people live your life while you watched from behind the glass of their approval. That is the question Nietzsche left us with. Not a comfort, a demand. Become who you are before someone else finishes becoming you.